Well, for more on the US election, I'm joined in the studio now by Dr. Rebecca Sheehan. She's a US history lecturer at the University of Sydney's United States Studies Centre. Rebecca Sheehan, thanks very much for coming in and talking to us. A former Australian Prime Minister, John Howard, once famously said, if you change the government, you change a country. Well, Americans didn't change their government yesterday, but to what extent is America a different country today to what it was the day before?
Look, I think it's the same country, but I think that what we're seeing is people's understanding of what the real America is having changed. So there's a lot of talk on the way up to the election about Romney having the real American vote and Obama not having the real American vote, meaning that he has women, African Americans, Latino voters, poor people and young people, and they've spoken. So I think that the majority minority have now become the important voting public.
There was a strong argument being made by Conservatives that Barack Obama didn't represent real America. What we saw in this election, though, was what appears to have been elements of American society usually associated with the progressive side of politics, I suppose, really getting out and throwing their support behind the incumbent.
That's right. So I think we're seeing a different face of America than what those people who were criticising Obama were recognising. And also, in terms of the progressive issues that you're saying, I think what people have said through their vote is you can't disconnect the economy from social issues. So issues like reproductive rights and immigration reform for women and Hispanic or Latino voters are a big deal in the United States. So to just say, oh, it's just about the economy, it's just about the size of government, I don't think really cut it, as we've seen.
Some analysis is saying today that it's business as usual in Washington. It's the same president in place. We've still got the same composition with the two houses there, the Congress and the Senate, which remain, at least on paper at the moment, deadlocked over how fiscal issues should be handled over there.
Yes, that's right. But I think that there are gains in terms of women. So there are more women in the Senate, for instance. Elizabeth Warren, who's beat Scott Brown in Massachusetts, so first woman from that state, and a couple of other key women. Tammy Baldwin, first openly gay senator and first female senator from her state. So I think that although there's that deadlock, and particularly on issues like fiscal cliff, I see where also there's a change in the balance of power, at least in people's representation, and that matters. Okay,
women have fared well in this election. Gay marriage has been another issue that has fared well, while I think, as you just mentioned, those Republicans who got into strife over comments about rape and abortion, they fell foul as a result.
Yes, they definitely fell foul, so showing that people do care. Women and men, I think, in terms of the vote. And then in terms of gay marriage, so Maine and Maryland, the voters have put through a referendum in favour of same-sex marriage. So it's the first time that's happened from the side of the voters. So in other states where same-sex marriage has been legalised or disapproved, it's been through a legal process rather than through a referendum. So that's really exciting that the voters have been heard in those two states. And then also in Maryland, what's happened there is that the voters have turned down an amendment to the state constitution there to define marriage as being only between a man and a woman. So big gains for same-sex marriage in those three states.
And that stands in contrast to what happened at the last election when Barack Obama was first elected and California voted down same-sex marriage.
Yes, that's right, and that was a really bittersweet victory at that time. I think for many people who voted for Obama who are gay Americans, it was very difficult and depressing getting up the next morning and seeing that that's what had happened. But now it's a more whole victory, if you like.
Okay, let's keep drilling into these results. Advocates of marijuana laws reform also scored wins.
Yeah, right. So two states, Colorado, has legalised the use of marijuana, recreational marijuana. So it's not just medical marijuana as has been used in California, for instance, but one of the issues that's still going to be a problem is that federally marijuana is a prohibited substance. So there's going to be a tension between federal laws and state laws, and we'll have to see how that plays out.
Okay, Rebecca Sheehan, we've run out of time. Thank you very much for coming in and chatting to us about that.